Ta-da! And welcome. I feel like I'm still getting situated. I am sitting on my bed top here. We've got Matt, we've got Sarah, and it is 2024. Can you believe it? We did it. I know you and I are both
No,
trying to
no,
get
I'm a little
straightened
good.
out.
Well, my office is still torn apart. I was doing that over break, fixing it, and then my daughter did a surprise visit, and so then I never finished it. So everything's torn apart, but I moved my camera.
Well, and I've got one of those situations like a bad bar table where you go to set your laptop down and you feel like all of the little pieces should be there, but yet something's off. So when I go to type, it like maneuvers around. But
Yeah,
anyway,
you're like bouncing.
that's how we're doing it here in 2024, guys. I cannot thank you enough for being present. It is Astrology and Alchemy starting for January 2023, and we're going to share with you hopefully our expectations for the prediction show. I know that's one of the most popular shows.
And I haven't done my work for it yet, so we're not getting your predictions yet.
I was going to say that's going to be kind of exciting, and I know that the year has already started off pretty strong with natural disasters, political movements, entertainment shifting, and just wild news. So, looking a little bit ahead at the expectations, the astrology is not going to let us down.
Yeah, I will say that once Pluto goes into Aquarius, that's going to start the shit show, and that happens this year. So
It does, and we have Pluto moving this month. So some of those things happen this month. Weirdly, if you guys have joined us here on the show before, we talk a lot about there being positions or movements astrologically from day to day. It's pretty consistent that things happen on a daily basis. However, January of 2024 has got some really weird movements happening. And I mean, there's a few things that are already kind of happening as far as Mercury went direct a few days ago. Since we didn't do last week with the holiday and with Christmas, we didn't really get to talk about that. So I suppose the most important thing is just to talk about how Mercury has gone direct to start the new year. So maybe let's just kind of start there, guys, for the astrology. If you're new to the show, how does this affect us? How does this just start us off? Boom.
well, since Sagittarius is very kind of the exploratory one, and very action oriented and things along those lines, I just think, and since it's direct, I just think people are going to be these guys sound redundant, but very direct in their communication. They're going to tell you what they want, what they're interested in, and there isn't going to be any games.
Were there arguments? Were there direct debates? Were there New Year's? You know what? This is what we're doing. Because if so, maybe those resolutions, it may not just be a traditional thing or a superstition. You didn't just do things with black-eyed peas. Maybe you really started the new year with that feeling, the need to communicate what you're going to do in 2024. And I think that's an important, what are we going to do? What are we doing? Sagittarius. I always think of the archer. I always think of that constellation wanting to kill somebody from far away, and a person that I do. I think of the moment someone created the bow and arrow where they were like, I really want to spear that person to death, but I want to do it from a distance. Here's what we need. And like, that's some serious math and time and skill and aerodynamics, all just to kill somebody from a distance.
I guess if you're going to think of a centaur archer, killing somebody from a distance isn't the worst thing to associate with a centaur. So.
Right, and no Sagittarius offenses. Right, we're going to start the year strong. Some of my
I'll just say my college was the only one in the country that had that as its mascot, and then they got rid of it because of it's a Catholic college, and its reputation was mythical beast known for raping women, so they changed it.
Are you kidding?
Yep.
I mean, I didn't know that centaurs were known for that.
Now we're a bulldog, which there's like 15 million bulldogs. So.
Oh no!
That's why when you said archer, like negative stereotypes of a centaur, I'm more familiar with the other one.
Crazy. I wouldn't even have thought about that. But what are you gonna do? Okay, so today is January 2nd. You guys, January 2nd, there's no I love
I'm
that.
gonna pause because I'm just gonna say once again, my house was silent for like 4 hours. I do the show and I was
He's gonna mute it for just a second. That's the way of it. That's seriously the way of it. I'm gonna shift real quick so my leg doesn't fall asleep because I'm human, guys. We're not AI yet. Um, that's exactly how it goes. That's how it is for my children too. That way you know that we are real, guys. We're real hosts doing real things. But there's no major astrological movements today. There's no astrological movements even tomorrow. What? There's no astrological movements on Wednesday or, I mean,
And so just so
today.
folks know, like part of why is we only cover like the major geometry with these things. There's like lots of like little subtle ones, but we go on forever. And I think some of the subtle stuff, you get too in the weeds and it's not really that important. So it just turns out that all the planets are kind of aligned right now. That outside of the moon changing every like 2 or 3 days, which I don't put a whole lot of stock in anyway. There just aren't a lot of good angles popping up every day right now.
Well, and I think of like it's almost like a recipe where when you're watching things move and you see that, they're not really moving much at all, or there's just not a lot of shifting. Sometimes that makes me wonder, what is it that's going on with Mother Earth that there's no shifting? Um, because usually, and especially lately, when you guys know we've had some major disasters, and so to think like, well, we know that there's earthquakes, we know that there's volcanoes. I was going to share my screen here, but it's not going to let me because StreamYard's being fickle these days. But if you kind of go and look at, I use theplanetstoday.com to help me kind of prep these. So if you go from the second, which is today, to the third, nothing is moving. All of those planets are pretty set in in the constellation, and they're pretty set right on it, with the exception of Pluto, which we know is going to move this month. And then the moon is in the middle of Virgo. Whoop whoop. That's my moon sign, so I'll go ahead and mention it, even though Matt shared we don't do a lot of moon movement.
Well,
But
you like the moon stuff more than I don't dislike it. It's just it's transient. It's very fast, so
well,
it's like a 2 or 3 day thing.
I'll even put that for Wednesday the 3rd. Moon, and it's what? We just recently had a full moon, so it's waning. Moon waning in Virgo. And so that would be, I always think of the moon for emotions. And if it's waning, we're feeling a minimization, we're feeling a release, we're feeling a a reprieve in the area of Virgo. Virgo, the nurturing mother who's got to micromanage every little freaking thing and nurture it to death. Back to life, Munchausen by proxy. Just kind of our feelings about what it is that we're going to do in those ways. No big deal. No big deal. Bigger deal. Put it down for January the 4th. This is kind of a big deal. I am going to share this. Mars, which it is direct, in Capricorn. So Mars is moving on Thursday, January 4th. Mars direct in Capricorn. Now, the reason that I think that this is important, as we begin to personalize, and we are going to be featuring each month, Matt and I, we took your guys' surveys, we took your feedback. Some of the best shows were musical astrology. So being able to say, okay, this month, this is the birthday for Capricorns. So our Capricorns, we're going to do some playlists for you guys on our social media. Keep an eye out for just how to get to know that energy. Please do. Mars direct in Capricorn. Mars is the planet of the fight, your will. I always think of Mel Gibson on a hill, like Braveheart. But when you're reading that, Mars entering into Capricorn, what do you think, Matt?
Yeah, I'm not I'm not ignoring by looking away. I'm trying to pull something up while we're talking here. Yeah, so Mars in Capricorn. So it's actually transitioning into Capricorn from Sag on the 4th. Mars is action. Mars is kind of aggression. Mars is kind of what you would say stereotypical like male energy. Capricorn is very achievement oriented. It's the little goat climbing the mountains. So this is all. There's going to be a lot of drive to get crap done, starting on the 4th, which I guess Thursday. So
yeah, Thursday for 6 weeks. What? Ambition, power, drive. When I think of Capricorn, I think of strategy. I think of quiet, patient, calm. That's pentacles. That's like you said, the little goat climbing the mountain. Man, those things do wild things. The way that they're able to just hang on by a sliver. Really powerful, really overwhelming determination. So when I think about that, people in the chat room sharing that, they have an ascendant. What does an ascendant mean if they're looking at their chart? Because they have an ascendant in Capricorn.
So an ascendant is the sign that's on the horizon at the time of your birth, and it is basically like the best way to describe it is if somebody had a first impression or a first guess as to what your personality would be, that would be it.
There you go.
Good example is I always say I view Trump as a stereotypical Leo, and he's not. He's a Gemini, but his ascendant is Leo. So that must be why. Which I share that with him, which does not make me happy.
Really? You just don't like it because you're not a Trump fan.
Yeah, I just don't like that type of personality. I don't like that whole look at me, I'm so great. I need
look at me.
I need to amplify every little thing I do and get showered with praise, which is very, stereotypical. I don't want to piss off. Although the fire signs, I feel like that's the element I crap on the most, and they never seem to care. It's the water signs. You say one little tiny thing about a water sign, and they all start flooding the chat with how mean you are. But yeah, I would give that's kind of what I view as kind of stereotypical Leo energy is look at me, give me attention.
Man.
Oh, wow. Pepper just said that I share. So this is awesome. I share the sun and ascendant signs as Marilyn Manson.
Do you really?
So according to Pepper, he's a Capricorn with a Leo ascendant.
That makes a little more sense, I think. That makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, I'm sure when everybody thinks of me, like the first artist that probably comes into mind is Marilyn Manson. I mean,
well, he's really smart, and he's not what people expect, and he's totally gonna say what he means, and all others be damned. I think Marilyn Manson, but he does it creatively.
Mm-hmm.
Like his videos are really clever.
He's a smart dude.
He's a smart
weird.
dude.
He's a smart dude.
Yeah.
And when you realize like 90% of these bands that do that kind of stuff, it's all contrived to get attention, which is probably the Leo piece.
That's
like I like really don't think he's like, sacrificing chickens and crap. I just think
no, but definitely putting fingernail polish on for a reason. So anyway, guys, that's Thursday. Thursday, Mars direct in Capricorn. What is it that you're fighting for? What is it that you've been wanting to, maybe those New Year's resolutions? You're going to feel a little bit more motivated and a little bit more ambition than you've probably felt lately. You've been maybe feeling depleted, exhausted, or just the overwhelming kind of purge of the holiday season coming upon us. And now, hopefully, when? Thursday, you're going to feel a little oomph, a little kick in the right direction. Friday, nothing major happening. We say nothing major. That just really means that it's a minor thing. So nothing big, just a moon movement on Friday. A tiny little moon movement Friday, January 5th, the moon waning in Libra. What say you about Libra specifically? So relieving
happy
feelings.
Birthday to my fellow Cap Donna. My birthday was just on Thursday, so
happy birthday, you guys. Send all your birthday gifts to share the PO box in there, Matt.
It's funny. There's a like YouTube show I watch a lot, and the joke with that guy is they all flood him with happy birthdays every. It's like not my birthday, but they
Just
Doesn't
because.
matter. It's like all 365 days he's on there, and they just flood him with chats saying "Happy birthday, happy birthday." Anyway, Libra balance. Libra likes nice things. Libra is a cardinal sign, so it moves things, but I always say it moves things indirectly, so it works through people. So this is a lot of, I would say, be aware of kind of emotional influence. You want nice things, but you may be also providing nice things to somebody else to get them to do something for you. So
Ooh,
keep that in mind.
transactionary love.
I view Libra like if you watch any, and I don't watch these often because they annoy me, but if you ever see some of these like, reality shows or things where there's these people that are like so fixated on like brands and where they're at and the whole image is it like that strikes me as like Libra.
Makes me think of The
It's
Bachelor.
not so showy. That's more Gemini Leo, but there's Libra likes nice things.
I always think of Lady Liberty and like her being blind and hearing or feeling the sound of gold, knowing the weight of something without um, knowing it, if that makes sense.
Thank you, Pepper, for the birthday wishes. And
Yeah. And happy birthday to you too, Matt, right? Because
thank
we
you.
didn't get to have to say that last
No,
week. We won't sing. We won't force it upon you.
no.
That's okay. Okay, so that is Friday, January 5th, 2024. Put your predictions down, guys, so far. I would say the biggest prediction, maybe not just for oneself if you're journaling these, but Thursday, that Mars direct in Capricorn, that's going to be a political movement. That's going to be something happening right before Friday, and then Moon waning in Libra Friday morning. Nothing continuing, nothing big continuing to happen. Saturday, January 6th, a small, subtle movement of the moon waning in Scorpio. Again, no big planets moving, everything kind of sitting in its space. But when you think of Scorpio, just a nice kind of breakdown every few days as the moon moves across those constellations. Scorpio, the water sign.
I'm just looking something up while we're talking. Yeah, so Scorpio, we're moving more from that nice stuff to see, this is one I always get in trouble with. Well, Scorpio and Pisces. Um, Scorpio is intense and it's intense emotion, but it's poker face, so it's hidden. So you really don't know where that energy is channeling. So I almost feel like going from Libra to Scorpio, if you're going from the I'm providing something nice to try to nudge you into doing something, and maybe you didn't do it. Now, like you get the more intense response. I'm just looking to see if there's any other like geometrical things that have happened, and I can't find anything on my phone right now, which
Well,
is
and
a
I'm
good
going to
time.
share in the chat where I am looking as if you guys want to see that breakdown. Again, I use planets, theplanetstoday.com. And when you go and you look at even the 7th, so what I notice and what I begin to notice as far as like going down the conspiracy wormholes of, the poles are shifting, everything's teetering, everything feels really heavy, maybe on one side of the galaxy, even though we're spiraling in a circle. You look at these constellations in a way that they are geometrically laid out, just 2D, and you've got Uranus, Jupiter, Eris, and Chiron over here, two little guys. Then Neptune, Saturn, Pluto, the Sun, Mercury, Venus, the Moon. Everything is hinging on this bottom half of the sway. Pluto, all of them, all the big boys, all the major planets, hinging on one side. There feels a great imbalance in the force. Even though January starting off kind of small, not a lot of big things happening yet. I do say yet. Yet. So, Friday, nothing big, just a moon movement. Saturday, nothing big, just a moon movement. So then the 8th, anything happening on the 8th, Sarah? Boom. Nothing big, just a moon movement. But let's do this because the moon is going to be opposite Uranus. We can at least say that. It's hinging exactly across from Uranus on January 8th. So you have the moon waning in Sagittarius. So this is Monday, January 8th. That's Monday already.
Yep.
Um, moon waning in Sagittarius, opposite Uranus retrograde. And it's been in the sign of Taurus, guys, forever, but it's still retrograde in Taurus. So when we think of this particular energy, uh, hmm, I would say what makes me slightly nervous is that you've got, and maybe I'll mention this next. So let me just stop there. How do you feel about the moon being opposite Uranus and Taurus? What feelings do you have
Um, so
there?
Uranus is kind of the wild card. I feel like we haven't said these in a while, so I'll go ahead and repeat these.
Right.
So yeah, Uranus is the wild card. So it's kind of the rebel. Since Taurus is stable and indulgent, so Taurus doesn't want to. Taurus was like the I'm going to stay in New Year's and be under a blanket with like a cup of tea and go to bed at like 10:30. It's um, they don't necessarily. They like stability. And so this kind of rebellious versus stability, I view this as you rebel by not doing something you're supposed to do. And opposite is tension between the two. So this is tension between, Moon and Sagittarius. So that's emotions. And Sagittarius is such an explorer wanting to go out and do things. So it's emotionally wanting to do something, maybe getting a nudge to do something, but not really wanting to leave your comfort zone. And so I feel that's like the tension there is wanting to try something new, but maybe that tension between how uncomfortable it's going to be or, how much is this going to disrupt my life? And so it's going to be that kind of energy.
Hmm. Hmm. How much? I think it's interesting when you say desire to blank, but not wanting to blank.
Mhm.
That's kind of the shadow work there, I think, especially in the moon for desire. And then Uranus is just kind of stubborn curveball. Like, yeah, I want to be able to travel the world and have a better budget, but I don't want to have to give up, my daily coffee that's $9.
Yep.
So what's going to give?
That's the best way to word it is if you think of any situation where you know somebody that wants to do something, but they need to do something else in order to do it.
Hmm.
And they just absolutely refuse to. And so it just leaves them stuck. That's this
What?
energy.
Yeah. What variable is going to change? You
Yeah.
want to lose the weight, but you're not going to stop eating bread at night.
Yeah.
That's one of my struggles is I always feel like I want to be more lean and toned, but I love a fresh baguette with warm butter and goat cheese and sitting there with a coffee at night or in the morning or just whenever. And so if your go-to snack is a loaf of bread, come on guys, then you're going to be fluffy. So how, what are you going to do, Sagittarius and Uranus and Taurus, trying to be strategic, but maybe you don't want, that's going to cause some stagnation. Now, the next thing on this Monday, so it's going to not be the first Monday of the year, but kind of the first real Monday of the year since we started off on a holiday. So a lot of people were still recovering from the Christmas weekend. Hi, Samantha. Hi, all of you guys. Then we have on Monday evening something that I just want to mention. Not only do we have the moon waning in Sagittarius, but we also have Venus direct, Mercury direct, and little Ceres out there for those of you counting the asteroids and smaller planets. So a big chunk in Sagittarius.
I like this. Emotions, money, female energy, love, sex, communication, all in sure, why not? Let's do it. Exploration.
Ooh.
Pretty much wide open energy right there.
on a Monday on a frequency of
I just call it generally a lot of people are going to be really just open.
risks are open. Open is
Yeah.
probably a good word.
Risk tolerant. That'll be another one. Yeah, it's the like I always say, Sagittarius is the one. Gemini is the one at the party running around talking to everybody. Sagittarius is the one at the party wanting to jump out the second window into the pool.
Come on, guys, let's go. Also, or I would say back in my day, let's not age myself too much, but the person who was like actually making the prank calls and calling and is Michael Hunt there? That person like actually dialing the call and making it happen. That was the Sagittarius. They're just cool, calm, and they're gonna do all the rotten stuff. Um,
When you do those things, I always think of that Simpsons one with that one where they called and they're like, it's like, I'm looking for Amanda Kiss. And he's like, why can't I find Amanda Kiss? And they're like, maybe
where
your
are they?
standards are too high.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Ah, Bart Simpson had the best ones too, guys. Really did. Still does, I think. Do they still do that bit on The
Yeah, that's
Simpsons?
still
I
around.
stopped watching. Okay, good. I know The Simpsons is still around, doing conspiracy theories every episode, nonetheless. All right, guys. So then it's going to be, and I can't believe I'm saying this because it's only been 30 minutes into the show. Usually we have a lot more astrology to stuff into 7 days. However, there's not a lot of major planetary movement happening in this next week, but it ends on January 9th with something, somewhat important. And that is that the sun in Capricorn will be trine that Uranus in Taurus. So when you think of the sun in Capricorn, it's that I always think Capricorn is probably the most stubborn earth sign.
I think so.
Sun in
No.
Capricorn. Yeah, I do.
I think
Trine.
Taurus is the most stubborn earth sign. We're two earth signs,
Specific.
so
Yeah.
a lot of earth here on this. I want to just quick comment that to Jonathan. It's not just your sun sign, so it's all the different combos of things, the angles and the different. So just because your sun sign is one thing doesn't mean you don't have any doesn't mean like that's 100% you. It's a mix of stuff. Anyway, so yes, trying is synergy. We'll get back to Capricorns being stubborn. I guess you could say that, in that I'd say Capricorns are stubborn in that they'll kind of blow through barriers to get what they want. Taurus is stubborn that they're not going to move. So it's stubbornness in two different directions. It's stubbornness in that I'm not going to yield. I'm going to go ahead and change this versus I'm not going to yield. I ain't moving.
I ain't going nowhere.
Yeah.
Makes me think of the Oogie Boogie Man. Mr. Oogie Boogie. And Uranus is retrograde, so we're not able to. I'm always thinking of our ancestors kind of looking up and not having to be able to see back over your shoulder to see that planet, that it's not directly in our view. Retrograde in Taurus, and the sun, it's sharing Capricorn, guys, with Mars. So don't forget, it's sitting there with Mars, that motivational, man, it's really ambitious. So when you said removing barriers, and Uranus is over there hanging out with Jupiter, so blowing through barriers. Is that going to be a good thing or a bad thing? How is that going to present itself on a
So I view
Tuesday?
this is synergy too. If you want to rebel by not doing, and Capricorn wants to do things, and you have this synergy between the two. So I feel it's going to be in a very intentional rebel by not doing to achieve another aim. So kind of convoluted, but like this isn't going to be if somebody, I don't know, if somebody flakes out on you at something at work, it's, in my opinion, it's not that they actually like flaked out. That was a deliberate flake out to.
Yeah, they're probably prioritizing things, and the broken car windshield and the getting the plates on their car and the things to get to and from work just kind of trumped being able to get there. Um, I like to think of, again, I'm going to play on that Capricorn being quite strategic. I see them as a chess player and the actual like chess piece moving. Um, What is the second part of Tuesday, says Pepper. There is no second part of Tuesday. That's the only major thing happening on January 9th. If you kind of look, I mean, I'm looking at it right now. You've got Pluto trine Jupiter, but not technically. I'll use my Dana Carvey fingers because it's not an exact. What is it to be trine? What's the degree? I forget.
60.
What is it?
60.
60 degrees. It's not exact. It's not exactly that.
Is
It
that
looks
right?
like it's probably 57 degrees. So I'm going to roll my eyes. But there's a lot of shifts that if you're looking at it, training your eye for astrology, looking at the pendulum right before it drops and trying to, it's almost like galactic jump rope. You're watching the jump rope, you're listening to the sound on the pavement and waiting for that time to jump in. This is a lull. This next week is a little bit of a lull as things come to the top and begin to crest down. We're watching it crest and swing back down, and it's going to, stuff's going to hit, and that pavement, you're going to hear a snap, and it's going to catch your feet, and people are going to trip. It looks like on the 20th. It looks like it's going to be January 20th. Let's do a little move ahead here real quick, and then I might jump over and grab my tarot cards, Matt, since we have a little bit of
Yeah.
time before the end of the
I,
show.
I'll add two real quick. So we were talking about stubbornness. Like, I'll just add. I forget. It was something you said that made me think about it. In my opinion, Scorpio and Capricorn are the two most intense signs. But Scorpio, it's all emotional intensity, and Capricorn, it's cold intensity. So
Mm.
both intense, but one has a lot of emotion driving that intensity, and the other one has all head, no heart.
All head and no heart. Speaking of, Capricorn, happy birthday on January 11th. The new moon will be in your sign. That'll be the following week. And moving through the month, as far as predictions go, there's going to be January 13th, Mercury moves into another sign. No big deal. There's some Neptune and Pisces things happening towards the middle of the month that we will cover as we do the show here on weekly breakdowns. The next big day, as far as big shake that we're going to see, is on January 20th when both the sun in Capricorn is conjunct with Pluto in Capricorn, and it teeters that just within a few hours of the day. Sun moving into Aquarius, age of Aquarius, and Pluto tipping over into age of Aquarius, right as Venus and everything moves out of that big heavy constellation that everybody is all clustered in right now. You start to
So
see
yeah,
things
so that'll be a big.
disperse.
What did you say? That's the 20th.
20th, January 20th.
So pay
So you guys, if
attention.
you're,
Whatever happens on the 20th, even if it's not a huge news story on that day, that's going to be the theme of the big things. Always blow up. Just so you guys know, like Capricorn's like all achievement and stuff. When Capricorn moved into, or I mean, when Pluto moved into Capricorn, that was like the Great Recession started. It's like there's always going to be something big when Pluto moves. So it's going to be big, and it's not necessarily going to be like to the minute it happens, but you'll start seeing the signs pretty darn quick.
well, don't laugh because 5 days later, the full moon is in Leo. And I expect whatever those days of the week fall on, I haven't looked at the calendar quite yet. But knowing that the 20th, all of that shit kind of hits the fan, and that then on the 25th, there's going to be full moon, the first full moon really of the year, guys, and it's in Leo. Da da da! Look at me! And then next day, Uranus, which has been retrograde forever, will go direct. And so curveballs start flying, and the month ends almost with every single day, 2, 3, 4 movements happening. After the 20th, things really spike up and it gets crazy. So if you're feeling the lull now and thinking, what the heck?
Enjoy
It's
it.
mathematical. Yeah, it's a mathematical eye of the storm, really. And we can look ahead and see how it's moving, when it's moving. What is it going to be, do you think, for the nation? What do you think it's going to be?
I didn't get a chance to look at for my predictions yet. I want to pull the. There's like a progress chart and a silver return chart. There's a couple things like that. And what I usually do on that is I pull them for a bunch of things and then use those aspects to come
Hmm.
up with stuff. So I'm not sure what it's going to be yet. I think it's going to be a lot of chaos. I really don't think it's bad until, is it in 25 or 26 when Neptune goes into Aries?
I
When
thought it was
Neptune goes into Aries and Pluto's in Cap,
the
I think
2027.
I think the wheels like fall off. Like I think that's like this that I get dystopian vibes from that. Like it's like not good. Just so
All
folks
the
know,
movies.
last time Pluto was in Aquarius was the American Revolution. Last time Neptune was in Aries was the Civil War. Yeah, it's just bad. It's a bad combo.
Confrontation, a lot of confrontational change, but revolutionary change too. It's just kind of that's when those few years
Yeah.
of gore and struggle and starvation and things like that kind of seem to be a glitch in our historic tape. If you read there's a book by an author, Crow or Corn. I always get it confused, but it's Generations. The book is called Generations, and it's huge. It's like 3 inches thick, but it's a really good read on like anthropological, sociological patterns of human behavior. And if anyone's into math or astrology or patterns of behavior, marketing, strategic, business marketing patterns, you read that and you notice that we are organic creatures in a movement, in a rhythmic movement. And as things change, they do it in a way that they repeat themselves. We're going to see some repeated patterns, guys.
So Pepper sent me Marilyn Manson's birth chart, and I thought, wouldn't it be weird if we were like shared the same birthday or almost? And I'm like, there's no way. He's way younger than me. We are, if
I
I
mean,
ever saw that right, 1 week apart.
no way.
Mm-hmm.
So
He's a
you have
week.
a lot.
He's a week younger than me. So
So you guys have a lot very similar then.
yeah, except
Wow.
I don't dress up like that.
Wow. Okay. Um, Mary said, "Man, somewhere I heard the eclipse coming up could cause problems. Something about it being in Aries." I would think not just the eclipse, but I would say that there's some really unique solar activity happening. I don't know if it'll be so much that it's the eclipse, but I just think the timing of we're supposed to have a lot of meteor showers and asteroids and intermittent internet usage and solar activity here in the next 3 months that, power outages that look like false flags, that look like other things, and things we should just be mindful of. So I have my tarot deck here. It looks like we've got 10 more minutes, guys, that we can use for prepping anybody with um, permission. Gives us permission to pull a card. This is always fun because Matt and I each have our own deck. Sometimes we've been known to pull the exact same card, which is so wild. It hasn't happened in a while now.
It hasn't happened in a while, but it's cool when it does.
It is
Pepper
cool.
wants a card, so think of your question, Pepper.
Yeah, think of that question when people are like, "How does it work? How do you know it's work?"
Hang on, because this jumped into my head ahead of time, so I don't want to like have this mixed with Pepper's thing. So I'm going to do this first. Try to do the same thing about this. What does the Pluto and Aquarius mean for this year?
What does for
Yeah,
me?
you were asking like what's going to happen this year, so let's pull a card and see what we
Okay,
get.
let's
We're
pull a
thinking
card for
about
that.
this year.
Oh shit.
So the
Okay.
card for the year. I'll live with this one. I was expecting to get like the Tower or something. I got Queen of Pentacles.
Okay. I'll take that. I got the Hanged Man or the Hanging Man. So Queen of Pentacles, I always think of the maternal matriarch of Earth, the thinking woman, the smart woman. Ah, yes, but our beauty will fade. What lasts longer than that, darling? Like the crown. What do you think of?
I think of again, obviously feminine energy, but I always view this one as this is kind of the successful and materialistic. This is the, oh God, I can't think of her name, but the
Businesswoman.
Downton Abbey, the oldest daughter.
Oh yeah, didn't watch that show.
That kind of vibe.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, businesswoman, but yeah, it's just these are like the King and Queen of Pentacles are like the power couple.
Yeah.
Earth energy.
And the
And
Hanged
then
Man.
Hangman, I almost feel like that means nothing's gonna happen. Like we're gonna be on hold until 2025. We're not gonna know.
Waiting. The Hanged Man, killing nothing but time. Doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. Look at Pink over there doing more than she needs to at her concert. She's going to end up flooping out on one of these darn ropes trying to impress people. What are you doing? The Hanged Man, maybe doing too much and maybe needing to do something now, maybe not. Just killing time. So Pluto and Aquarius, I think we're waiting. We're in a pendulum swing. We are waiting to see how people are going to use this time. Are you going to use it to learn how to make bread, love your neighbor? Or are you going to just do the same old shit?
Hi, Summer. Thank you.
Hey.
Glad to make a live show. Love to us both.
Oh, good. Summer, Brandy, Pepper, Selena, Mary, Justin. So many wonderful people joining us. Who do we have first? Pepper?
Oh yeah, it was Pepper. Then yeah, I'm going ADD, and I saw the car pulling, so my dog's gonna go wild in a second here. Pepper likes the dog though, so it doesn't matter. All right, what you got?
Man, this is
You
weird.
can go first this time.
Because now we're gonna do this. I got the Queen of Pentacles.
Oh, okay. We're just gonna be one blind. I got Justice.
Oh, okay. Queen of Pentacles, Queen of Coins, Queen of Earth. It's the card that Matt just pulled in his deck. But this was my version of it, so you can see the artistic rendition. The smart woman, the pineal gland, her emerald. She's wise, she's growing, she knows how to invest her money. Ah, Pepper, good investment. And Justice.
So, Ivy, whatever your question was, Pepper, it's going to follow the rules. There's going to be no wiggle room in this. So, I think of with Justice, I think like, a rule is a rule is a rule. If I bend it for you, I have to bend it for everyone. So, no.
Mm-hmm. Got to be fair. Okay, Brandy H. Think of your question, because the more specific your question, you don't even have to share it with us.
Oh, and Samantha. But we'll do Brandy next, and then Samantha. I just saw me above that one. So.
Okay, so Brandy.
Okay, got it.
Okay.
I'm pulling good. I'm pulling relatively good cards today.
The Page of Wands. So the Page of Fire.
4 of Wands.
Ooh, okay, so fire. A lot of fire energy for you, Brandy. The Page or Intern of Wands. You can see this kid there. This person looks like the little girl in the Welch's commercial. She knows what she's doing, or he's got his staff. He's been picked. He's ready. He's got his foot in the door. You don't have to worry about, are you going to be picked? Are you good enough? Yes, you are. But you're not in charge of all the things yet. So use this time to relax, not feel all the responsibility, but keep doing what you're doing, because what you're doing has gotten you this far. So you're doing the right stuff.
And then this one, just think of like the 4 posts kind of holding things up. So 4 of Wands is stability. I always think of home. I think of this is, even though Wands is action, these are going to be stabilizing actions. And so, yeah, so whatever, I don't know what your question is. You don't have to put in what your question is, but I take this as it's going to be stability is going to come from whatever you're asking for.
That's right. That's right. All right.
We don't want to forget Samantha. So let's see. We got Samantha. Summer, Justin. Okay.
Samantha. This is for Samantha. Samantha. Ooh, okay. Did you think about your question, Samantha? What's your question? I've got my card. Another page.
For a split second, I thought we got the same card.
Really? Which one do you have?
I got Queen of Cups.
Okay. Queen of Cups, and I've got the Page or Intern of Coins. So Earth and Water. Coins is pentacles. It's that building block, that structure, that earth. And the Page is, you've got this female energy, and she has her dowry, she has her disc, she has all the things she needs, but she's not quite yet a woman there. So that investment still needs time to mature, but you at least have all the gold you need to do so. So you're good to go.
Queen of Cups. Cups is emotion. Cups is water. Whenever I talk about water, I get myself in trouble. This is the feminine water energy. So this is, it's not like the Empress card, which is, nurturing kind of mom energy, but this is still emotionally supportive. So whereas the Queen of Pentacles was kind of more materially supportive. This is emotionally supportive. So I would take this as you get emotional support from whatever you're asking.
Mm, love that. Samantha, I hope I love that. Um, okay. Who was next?
It's actually Justin, then Summer. I'm trying to go in order here. So we'll do Justin.
Justin and then Summer. Okay. What do you have?
We do it differently. She shuffles and just keeps pulling down the deck. I shuffle like this, and then what I will do is I will hold it and think of the question and kind of get a feel for where I'm supposed to cut it. That's why I take longer.
That's why you take longer.
Hangman.
Dang! Okay, so I love it when we get similar cards. The
Yeah,
Hanged
we're
Man.
pulling similar stuff. Like I say, it's generally they've been good cards. I feel bad when I pull like towers for people and stuff.
So this is the Three of
yeah.
Wands, the Three of Fire.
Oh, this is great synergy if you interpret it the same way I interpret Three of Wands.
Well, when I think of the Three of Wands, I think of that additional dreamer kind of finally seeing the third item or the third variable. Usually the third is like a trifecta, and it's not always a good thing because it's imbalanced. But when I see it in the wands, I see it as like a tricycle. So it's actually something stable that can get momentum in a unique way. The pyramid, the building block. And so this card is kind of interesting in how it illustrates things manifested coming into vision, still kind of a fantasy, but at least being able to see it enough to do it, to dream it. And the three coming into play might be, what do you interpret with three?
I always view it almost as kind of waiting for your ship to come in. So like the action's coming, but you have to wait, which then I find very interesting because the hangman's kind of accept the circumstances. There's nothing you're going to be able to do. It's kind of surrender to the circumstances. So I feel like whatever your question was, Justin, you're going to have to wait whether you like it or not. So to whatever degree that makes sense, wait.
Wait just a little bit longer.
Whether you just think of a question in your head or ask it out loud, regardless, you're sending that energy out there, and we're trying to pick something that will have synergy with that. But we will do Summers.
Summer?
Summer is next. So Summer, think of your question.
Think of your question, Summer. You don't have to say it. You don't have to chat it. We don't have to take a cold reading and use our higher education degrees to manipulate a cold reading into the perfect linguistic response for you. Instead, we can telepathically do it.
Right. We're going to need to do an explanation.
No, we're not.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
What did I say? I always pick good cards. This is a bad one for somebody that doesn't. So we have to explain before you see this one because
it's a tower.
This one can get bad interpretations.
Is it the devil? Oh, the death card. No, I love the death card.
But if people don't know, like people that like only like watch horror movies and stuff are always like, who's
gonna die?
Not what it. Yeah, that's not what it means.
So Summer, I will say I love this card. I think it's one of the most beautiful illustrations in the deck as far as this deck goes. The Two of Swords, Two of Air. So conflict, discussion. As you can see here, it's very similar to a Justice or Libra image, but just this kind of discussion of, okay, look, we're finally going to hash it out. Okay? Sword to sword, person to person, argument, whatever it is, it's going to be hashed out. And in many ways, I think that can be a good thing. We're getting to the nitty gritty.
Which has good synergy with us then, because this is the end of something, which means the beginning of something else. So you have your two swords, you're going to hash something out. One of those things is going to go away. Mm-hmm. So almost like when I say with the Gemini, where you have the two paths and you got to take one, and it like there's going to be something that's going to happen here, and one thing's going to be your path forward, and the other one's going to be gone.
Yeah, the crossroads and the path behind you is now gone and being recycled. Death, in many ways, is a new beginning, right? Death is only the beginning, and that's true because it's a cycle. So it's a life cycle. It just tells you where you're at in that cycle. So I like that. I think that's a good sign of change. Good luck with that conflict.
We had good synergy with our cards today.
Yeah. Summer says, makes perfect sense. I love it. I love it. Good. Selena, did she ask for one or has she just been curiously participant?
I don't know.
I don't know either. You guys, if you do want us to pull a card, though we are terribly psychic, I do firmly believe that permission is a part of that real magic. That's where the divination happens. That's where the skepticism dies. That's where the ability to have a transaction that's meaningful comes into play. So if you want a reading, be sure and share in the chat room that it's okay that we pull you a card and to pull you a card. We're coming up here on the end, not the end of the world, on the end of tonight's show. We should continue to, and I probably will. So Matt, I know it's up to you, but I probably will continue to go live because I need to fill in my calendar for the astrology for the rest of the month. I usually do that at the beginning of the month. Guys, that was New
Okay.
Year's. I didn't do it. So you'll probably see me going live later. If we're there, we can always pull a card. But Matt and I are going to
Yeah,
be
what's the card?
doing. Man, Selena said pull a card for her real quick. She's going to be the last one. Okay. I'm going to pull one for you, Selena. I thought you might. I thought she might want one. Oh!
I feel like there's a theme. I almost feel like there's a weird theme coming through on these. Go ahead.
The moon.
And I only needed the Queen of Wands to get the whole set. Queen of Swords.
Yeah, the queens, the queens, the queens.
I'm pulling queens.
So this is a major arcana. I love this because it's a beautiful Egyptian princess. She's got her Anubis and her Horus and all of her guys there. And it's under the moon and she's bathing and she's basking in the moonlight. The moon, major arcana card, all about cycles, all about maybe even feminine, receptive, interchange, yin cycles, shadow work cycles, and the changes that you are making on the inside that people may not be seeing yet with reflection, major reflection and meditation needed in this space. And then with yours.
Yeah, so tell me if you know this, if you hear the same tradition behind this than I do, so I don't want to contradict, but the Queen of Swords, so this is the only queen that is not actually paired and married with her king. This is, either a widow or, somebody that was not married, but swords is, thoughts, communication, it's air energy. So, and it's swords are two-edged. So she'll be very blunt, tell you like it is. This is not you're not going to get the emotional support of like the Queen of Cups. This is going to be more pretty much straight and brutal.
If you watch the Vikings series, I always see the Queen of Swords as Lagatha. So like widowed, but also divorced and then widowed and then like cheated on and killed and stabbed in the back and like lost children. And that queen who knows how to fight all the battles and is usually doing it alone. But a fighter, a strong fighter.
Yeah.
So very cool.
It's not a bad card. It's just she's, as far as the queen, she's there's a little difference there in that she's actually not paired with the king of that suit. So that also implies some emotional harm or emotional adversity that she has faced, and kind of because of that, she's a little more of a cold, straight shooter than the other three queens.
She's a cool, smooth operator. Silver tongue, all sorts of things. What doesn't kill us makes us stronger. True that, Mary. And that was 2023. 2024 is the year of show me. It's going to show you how strong you were through the opportunities that you are able to accept. It's all about accepting and making room for opportunity in this next year. We hope that you guys will do that with us, grow with us, sign up for notifications, share these live streams. Guys, join us every week. We're going to be as diligent as possible until we're millionaires, of course, to be funding this on a regular basis, to do the podcast every Tuesday night at 9 p.m., and then doing some extra little shows in between, guys, to help you get to know those signs, doing the astrological playlists, doing our prediction show that you guys love so much. And we're going to keep you posted on that. So if you have any requests, let us know. Otherwise, we'll see you next Tuesday.
Sounds good, everybody. Have a good night. I got to pull up our little video. Have a good night.
Bye-bye.